by the cost of modern weapons, both rightly alarmed by the steady spread of the deadly atom, yet both racing to alter that
You, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, do solemnly swear.
I, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, do solemnly swear.
That you will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
That I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of your ability.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Vice President Johnson, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chief Justice, President Eisenhower, Vice President Nixon, President Truman, Reverend clergy, fellow citizens. We observe today not a victory of party, but a celebration of freedom, symbolizing an end as well as a beginning, signifying renewal as well as change. For I have sworn before you and Almighty God the same solemn oath our forebears prescribed nearly a century and 3/4 ago. The world is very different now, for man holds in his mortal hands the power to abolish all forms of human poverty and all forms of human life. And yet the same revolutionary beliefs for which our forebears fought are still at issue around the globe. The belief that the rights of man come not from the generosity of the state, but from the hand of God. We dare not forget today that we are the heirs of that first revolution. Let the word go forth from this time and place to friend and foe alike that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans born in this century, tempered by war, disciplined by a hard and bitter peace, proud of our ancient heritage, and unwilling to witness or permit the slow undoing of those human rights to which this nation has always been committed and to which we are committed today at home and around the world. Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe to assure the survival and the success of liberty. This much we pledge and more. To those old allies whose cultural and spiritual origins we share, we pledge the loyalty of faithful friends. United, there is little we cannot do in a host of cooperative ventures. Divided, there is little we can do, for we dare not meet a powerful challenge at odds and split asunder. To those new states whom we welcome to the ranks of the free, we pledge our word that one form of colonial control shall not have passed away, merely to be replaced by a far more iron tyranny. We shall not always expect to find them supporting our view, but we shall always hope to find them strongly supporting their own freedom, and to remember that in the past, those who foolishly sought power by riding the back of the tiger ended up inside. To those people in the huts and villages of half the globe struggling to break the bonds of mass misery, we pledge our best efforts to help them help themselves for whatever period is required, not because the communists may be doing it, not because we seek their votes, but because it is right. If a free society cannot help the many who are poor, it cannot save the few who are rich. To our sister republics south of our border, we offer a special pledge to convert our good words into good deeds, in a new alliance for progress, to assist free men and free governments in casting off the chains of poverty. But this peaceful revolution of hope cannot become the prey of hostile powers. Let all our neighbors know that we shall join with them to oppose aggression or subversion anywhere in the Americas. And let every other power know that this hemisphere intends to remain the master of its own house. To that World Assembly of Sovereign States, the United Nations, our last best hope, in an age where the instruments of war have far outpaced the instruments of peace, we renew our pledge of support to prevent it from becoming merely a forum for invective, to strengthen its shield of the new and the weak, and to enlarge the area in which its writ may run. Finally, to those nations who would make themselves our adversary, we offer not a pledge, but a request that both sides begin anew the quest for peace. Before the dark powers of destruction, unleashed by science, engulf all humanity in planned or accidental self-destruction, we dare not tempt them with weakness, for only when our arms are sufficient beyond doubt can we be certain beyond doubt that they will never be employed. But neither can two great and powerful groups of nations take comfort from our present course, both sides overburdened by the cost of modern weapons, both rightly alarmed by the steady spread of the deadly atom, yet both racing to alter that uncertain balance of terror that stays the hand of mankind's final war. So let us begin anew, remembering on both sides that civility is not a sign of weakness, and sincerity is always subject to proof. Let us never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate. Let both sides explore what problems unite us, instead of belaboring those problems which divide us. Let both sides, for the first time, formulate serious and precise proposals for the inspection and control of arms, and bring the absolute power to destroy other nations under the absolute control of all nations. Let both sides seek to invoke the wonders of science instead of its terrors. Together, let us explore the stars, conquer the deserts, eradicate disease, tap the ocean depths, and encourage the arts and commerce. Let both sides unite to heed in all corners of the earth the command of Isaiah to undo the heavy burden and let the oppressed go free. And if a beachhead of cooperation may push back the jungle of suspicion, let both sides join in creating a new endeavor, not a new balance of power, but a new world of law, where the strong are just and the weak secure and the peace preserved. All this will not be finished in the first 100 days, nor will it be finished in the first 1,000 days, nor in the life of this administration, nor even perhaps in our lifetime on this planet. But let us begin. In your hands, my fellow citizens, more than mine, will rest the final success or failure of our course. Since this country was founded, each generation of Americans has been summoned to give testimony to its national loyalty. The graves of young Americans who answered the call to service surround the globe. Now the trumpet summons us again, not as a call to bear arms, though arms we need, not as a call to battle, though in battle we are, but a call to bear the burden of a long twilight struggle, year in and year out, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, a struggle against the common enemies of man, tyranny, poverty, disease, and war itself. Can we forge against these enemies a grand and global alliance, north and south, east and west, that can assure a more fruitful life for all mankind? Will you join in that historic effort? In the long history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it. I do not believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation. The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it. And the glow from that fire can truly light the world. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. My fellow citizens of the world, ask not what America will do for you, but what together we can do for the freedom of man. Finally, whether you are citizens of America or citizens of the world, ask of us here the same high standards of strength and sacrifice which we ask of you. With a good conscience, our only sure reward, with history the final judge of our deeds, let us go forth to lead the land we love asking His blessing and His help, but knowing that here on earth God's work must truly be our own.
All right, so what a speech, huh? I mean, that was just his. That was just the speech that he made when he was swearing in. I mean, there's so many JFK speeches we could go through, and they're all equally amazing. You know what? I'm just gonna hold on. I want you guys to hear the beginning of it again, real quick. Listen to this.
You, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, do solemnly swear
I, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, do solemnly swear
that you will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States
and will, to the best of your ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Vice President Johnson, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chief Justice, President Eisenhower, Vice President Nixon, President Truman, Reverend clergy, fellow citizens. We observe today not a victory of party, but a celebration of freedom, symbolizing an end as well as a beginning, signifying renewal as well as change. For I have sworn before you and Almighty God the same solemn oath our forebears prescribed nearly a century and 3/4 ago. The world is very different now, for man holds in his mortal hands the power to abolish all forms of human poverty and all forms of human life. And yet the same revolutionary beliefs for which our forebears fought are still at issue around the globe. The belief that the rights of man come not from the generosity of the state, but from the hand of God. We dare not forget today that we are the heirs of that first revolution. Let the word go forth from this time and place to friend and foe alike, that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans born in this century, tempered by war, disciplined by a hard and bitter peace, proud of our ancient heritage, and unwilling to witness or permit the slow undoing of those human rights to which this nation has always been committed and to which we are committed today at home and around the world. Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe to assure the survival and the success of liberty. This much we pledge and more. To those old allies whose culture...
Alright, hello? This is the Red Pill News Dispensary. If you guys heard in the beginning there, just the way he starts that speech, did you guys pick up on how it could be relevant today? Also, I'm curious, did notifications go out for this video? I'm assuming they did, but I'm just surprised by the number of people. Maybe some people just, younger people, didn't want to hear JFK, the speech. Alright, so what we're going to do today is we're going to look into a couple things. First of all, I've been looking into this, is JFK Jr. alive? And I did a deep dive into it already, knowing what the answer was, but whenever I look into something, I put my personal feelings aside. So I went into it with a clear head and an open mind, okay? Thinking that he may be alive. And I came out the other side, and I can see why you guys think that based on the magazine, the time the guy called in, and it's like literally exactly his voice, and also some of the Q stuff. I mean, Q himself says that JFK Jr. is not alive. I understand disinformation is necessary and all that, but I'm telling you, I'm not seeing it at all. I mean, that would be like the most shocking thing ever, but that's because it's something that's not true, if we're being honest with each other. It's that's the type of stuff where they start labeling us as conspiracy theorists. I don't think that, if Q is real and not AI and not some kind of controlled opposition and not something that is, because anytime I do believe in Q, and I see his tactics, and I see how he writes in shorthand sometimes, and I haven't seen that since I was in crypto school. And then I also see certain things that he talks about with military, according to like the way they use the code words, the way that they communicate. There's a lot of communications that match what I remember from the military. So there's something there. I just don't know if it's AI or not as far as Q. I've said this a bunch of times. And so basically what I wanted to do today was just look into, because Q, all of a sudden, if you guys follow Q, he has come out of the woodwork. And also at the end, we're going to talk about what Trump said last night. Live last night, I was on when he was saying it, but it seemed everybody wanted to do call-ins and they didn't want to listen to it. At that point, he was like at the end anyway. So I ended up listening to it today, and there was also some very interesting remarks he made. Remarks that would support what I said yesterday in regards to our allies. So let me start out. Let's start out like this. Okay. So you guys can't see me. Okay. How about that? All right. How you guys doing? Good afternoon. Okay. So you guys can see the browser up here. If it's anything with that smaller print, I'll pull up the bigger browser. That way you guys can see that. All right. So first of all, I just want to thank you guys for being here. Especially if you stuck through the speech. I mean, me, I could listen to speeches from JFK all day. I think he was just right on. He got it. Obviously, my favorite is the one where he's talking to the press, and he's talking about the secret societies and things like that. Okay, so here we go. You know, I'm going to turn down the background noise real quick. Oh wow, so I just glanced at the TV and you know, I knew that see I had brought my daughter to the pool the past 3 days. We have found at least like 1 hour to go to the pool each day. Basically we looking forward to going this weekend, right? But when when I looked it up, it showed that it was going to rain this weekend. Okay, so rain, even a little thunder and lightning. However, when I went and just looked at the TV, they're talking about some serious stuff. They're talking severe flooding. They're talking power lines, maybe power outage, widespread power outage. So I hope that my power doesn't go out. It wouldn't happen. Let me look outside. I have a big... Yeah, you can tell. It's starting to rain a little bit, but it's not... The skies don't look angry yet, so we got some time. I think it's going to be more like around like 7, 8 o'clock. That's going to be really bad. 6 to 8 maybe. Or 6 to 10. Something like that. That's going to be really bad. And so hopefully I don't lose power. Because tonight I would love to do a good call-in show. As well as I have so much material to get out there. So let's get started, huh? It's just we have a particular subject we're talking about. So I just want to get right into it. Okay. Alright. I think it would help you guys if you first saw the Q post. Although there's other ones I've been wanting to try. I know of one, but I was looking at one the other day that seemed a lot more updated. I want to maybe bring you guys to that one. But the one that seems to be more, it never goes down. It's always dependable. Here we go. So Q Post Online. It's the first one that comes up. The one I go is down here, QAnon.pub. It's kind of simple. Doesn't have all the bells and whistles, all fancy, but it never goes down. It's trustworthy. You know it's not an imposter. The algorithm is sound, and so it's only stuff in Q. Whereas some of these other sites, sometimes they'll pick up stuff that these code is just to mess with a bunch of people for 5 seconds until they figure out it's not real. They'll spend the whole day, doing code to make it so it will pick it up. It's unbelievable. Anyways, alright. So, I'm only going to go over the last 3, because before that, this is what we had, Pfizergate, and then it's almost like you're at the movie theater, and it's almost like these ones are the ones that already have happened. There's the 45, which means basically Trump's election, which everyone was so surprised about. And then there's, of course, the Clinton Foundation and all that, and they've already gone down. They've already been basically taken down. That was a huge part of it. There's even like little witty things written, like reviews. If it's somebody who's on Trump's side, it'll be a negative review of her, positive review of him, and and from her side, the other way around, obviously. So the one going up right now, meaning what they're working on, and I think by now that's what's going on this second. Not just that, but a lot more, a lot of arrests, because we're talking this was the deep state. When people talk about the deep state, this is what it was. And the deep state was never stronger than when it was under Bush. The second Bush Jr. Until Obama. Alright, you ever notice like how the Bush W and Obama seem to get along real well? Even like the wife gets along with him real well. Obama's wife, Michael, he, whatever, gets along with George W. very well. So, that's fine. They're presidents. They're both, they're in a very small club. Okay, yeah. But the thing is, time is going to tell all of this. So, I don't want to say too much and kind of go too overboard, but I'll say at least that much, that those 2 presidents represent the deep state more than any other presidents ever. And they were the last 2 presidents of this country. And look at what's happened from then to now. Look at what our rights were in 1999, and look at what they are now. Look at how our rights have been stripped away. Look at how the way that the government is involved in every aspect of our lives. Then look back at 1999. Look at what a regular living wage was for like a single mother back then, and then look what it is now. Now, I do believe in the welfare programs and all that, but they were way better back in the 90s than they are now. Way better. Now they suck. It's like you are poverty. You are like below poverty if you're on those programs. It's true. what they give you is not what you can live on. Not in this world where everything is kept track of, and it's like you can't do anything if you sneezed wrong once, or did, if you, did every little thing. It's the smallest things you've done in your life. They know it all. Now with artificial intelligence. And it's our own fault. So we can complain all we want, alright? But even myself, I mean, you know what? I was only 18, but I was still an adult. And I didn't see it either. So I don't really blame you guys. I didn't see the deception yet. Until I was doing my job in the military, which was, a cryptologist and collection, right? With a top secret sensitive compartmentalized information clearance, which sounds like, oh wow, so are UFOs real? But that's not how it works. It's a need to know. That's what the whole word compartmentalized. You just need to know what you need to know to do your job. And what I needed to know was frequencies and where I needed to listen. And whatever I heard when I was listening, that's why I needed the clearance, because I could hear anything. Who knows what I'm going to hear? Especially when you're listening to military targets. So you need that clearance. So anyway, so that's going up, and then next, of course, it's the basically re-elect Trump 2020. Hopefully, after a bunch of these people are in jail, and the American people wake up to this lie that has been fed right down their throat for years now, and they're gonna feel extremely betrayed. Extremely. And they're gonna realize, they're gonna be like, wow, I was played. They're gonna feel stupid. They might be defensive, for a while, because when you get tricked at the highest possible level and you fall for a hook, line, and sinker and basically live your life by it, you're gonna feel stupid. And especially a lot of these people, not all, but a lot are educated, and some highly educated. So they're gonna feel pretty stupid that they didn't see this. I saw it from day one on this one. I missed the whole what the Patriot Act was gonna do to us and how that was gonna take away all our rights, and how Iraq had nothing to do. Well, I knew Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11, but it almost seemed like we had to take out Iraq in order to complete the rest of our mission with going after, Afghanistan, Pakistan, wherever we would find Osama and the Taliban, which was my enemy. Right? The Iraqi people were never my personal enemy, but they were the enemy of my brothers, so yes, they are my enemy. But then again, they just kind of dropped their arms and ran. And the guys who would later become ISIS, they make the IED bombs, all that. Anyways, so Trump 2020. Okay, that's what's coming next, right? And then sanctions are coming, almost like in Game of Thrones, winter is coming. It's like the same way. Sanctions are coming. So, that's interesting. I never really paid attention to this last poster. Sanctions are coming. Interesting. Okay, alright. Real quick, here we go. So we're going to go right to the stories that have to do with this topic. Alright, so from yesterday, 7 days until Independence Day. Now, one way that Q does communicate isn't just through the words that he writes, it's also through the timestamps. Every time someone writes a message in the chans, whether it's 8chan or 4chan, and 4chan is also called half chan. Anyways, these are places that are secure. The messages are encrypted. What you write there is encrypted. It's anonymous. So, and it's, it's a place that has been built by some of the best hackers, and it's basically one of those things where it's unhackable. You can go in there and, write, but they don't like you posting any kind of opinion without a 100% fact. Like you need to attach some kind of like, not even an article. There's fake articles everywhere. You need to attach like an actual, like, real. Even sometimes Wikipedia isn't enough because they let people edit their site, so at any point they could have false information. They need solid fact if you're going to say something to back it up. So I like that. So let's look at this whole picture. So we got 1111, which is funny because that also carries some other purposes. Oh man, that also carries some other purposes. So that's kind of funny. The 1111. It almost is like Time magazine, but I don't know if that's anything to do with it. Okay, and then that was the last thing you're supposed to see. Okay, and then this is what we just got, right? Did I even show you guys the cue? Well, anyways, here it is. Alright, be ready. Q. He doesn't do stuff like that. He doesn't usually write just something as simple as be ready. He might say, like, after writing something, heads on a swivel, big week ahead. But be ready. And supposedly this whole ready thing has been said before, and it was basically made as if like this is for future communications, and this is when it was said before. It said future comms, and be ready, which means it's coming after all this time. That's how everybody is taking it. It's finally here. Whether it's the D class, whether it's arrests. There's rumors that the 2,000 arrests of the illegal aliens were really 2,000 Marines posing as ICE agents and arresting all of these, elites and people who have committed crimes. It's not just like, let's go after the elites. That's not what it is. It's elites that have been abusing their money and power in a very sick way, like human trafficking and things like that. In fact, do you know that now the Mexican cartel makes more money off human trafficking than it does drugs? And drugs have never been more widely used than they are today. So what's that tell you about sex trafficking? And honestly, what it costs to be with a girl is about what it costs to get a normal sized bag. So that means there's more people buying these women for a couple hours than the drugs. It's just unbelievable. It blows my mind. I think the reason why they're making more money in it is because they can sell the drugs once. The woman is one commodity, and it's sick to even think of, even talk about. But if we're being honest with ourselves, a woman, if you have her captive like they basically do, they don't know English, they don't know what to do. They're told all these lies that if they speak up, that all this bad stuff's going to happen to them, not only from them, but from the U.S. You know what I mean? They'll demonize the U.S. They'll be like, see, they have police everywhere. The police here, don't mess around. They will take you. They will do way worse to you. I just try to help you make a little money. I take all the money, but I give you money. You eat. You eat. You have a drink if you want. You did not have that at home. That's my, I don't know. That's my coyote accent, I guess, or like sex trafficker accent. Sorry for that. Anyway, so be ready, and this is a big one. I've been following Q since the beginning, literally since the very, very beginning. And I just kind of thought it was like funny at the beginning, but then it started getting real, and then I really believed in it and became obsessed with it. And then I kind of, over the past 6 months, up until about a month ago, and I said it on the show, I said, hey, I think Q might have been real this whole time. Because the 6 months when I left Q, I was basically saying, there's definitely something to it, but I think it's just AI. Because anytime I see a large group of people being influenced by something, especially on the internet, it usually tells me red flag. Like, hey, stay away from that. It's fooling a bunch of people. But in reality, he didn't fool a bunch of people at the beginning. He just came out and just started dropping breadcrumbs that led to intel. And eventually he's just become more and more and more popular. Because what he says is his future proves past. As in, what he says in his posts happen later. And then you're able to refer back to that post and say, wow, he said it to a T. And also you got to look at the times, the date and the timestamp especially. So in this one we notice that these two are not too far apart, and we have 23, which has been a number for pain. That's a phrase Q always used to use, was like, here comes the pain, or pain. He would always mention pain when talking about basically the arrest and prosecution and potential, if you remember, Lindsey Graham asked Kavanaugh at his hearing, would military law still be something that we could use in certain situations? And he goes, yeah, in certain situations, like for instance, if there was like a traitor that was in our government, like, yeah, we would use the Uniform Code of Military Justice and hang him. Okay, and it takes a lot less of that, all that BS lawyer stuff we got going on now. And we have like a good justice system, but at the same time we have a horrible justice system. It just depends on the judge, and it depends on where you are. I got screwed by the justice system because they just guilty to proven innocent. They put me in jail. I was 31, never been to jail before. Never in my life been to jail before. And I'm like, F this, I don't want to be here. You know what I mean? So after being there for a little bit, I'm like, I will give up, I will friggin' sign anything, saying anything to get out of here. I don't want to be here anymore. I am not good to be locked in a cage with PTSD and nothing but fights and all that stuff. And you start to, that's like where I learned that it's true, that it must be true when you die, because I know it's true when like 5 guys beat you for like a good 2 minutes. I mean, the guy was a child molester, but they didn't have to clean up just the blood, they had to clean up the poop everywhere. The guy shit himself all over the place, and that happened multiple times while I was there. Guys would lose the fight and then get beat up so bad at the end that they shit themselves. I mean, there's working out in there all day. You know what I mean? I had one little scrap, and I stepped up, I jabbed him, and then he backed down and put up his arms. He's like, I'm not gonna fight you, bro. And he was like a Spanish guy, and he ended up having to leave because the head of the Spanish guys took it as it made them look weak. you know, that, you know, the white guy beat up the Spanish guy. Well, not beat up, but punched the Spanish guy in the face, and he didn't do anything about it. You know, and he was a friend. It's just, you know, he did deserve it, I'll tell you that, though. And I just hit him once. That's it. You know, it's not like I kept going. I hit him with a jab, stepped back, waited to see if he was going to fight, and he wouldn't fight. So, you know, it's just, in jail, they force it out of you, and they then it's like they come to you and they're like, oh, we can give you a plea deal and you can walk out today, but then you have a criminal record, or you can stay here another 9 months waiting for trial. Massachusetts is backwards. In fact, I actually was up there yesterday, and when I was talking to them, telling them all this, and they said, you know what, we're going to seal your case. We're going to seal it. But that doesn't mean it goes away forever. You know what I mean? It's just sealed. I'm still not even sure exactly what that means. But I know it'll be a huge help, but I need to figure out exactly what it means. Okay, so, and then after that, the last thing he said, of course, at 17, whereas the first one was 23, which, if you follow Q, you know means pain. 17th letter of the alphabet, Q, that's what this guy's basically pointing out. For God and country, patriots fight. So, something's coming, folks. Something is coming. And a lot of people think it's July 4th. Oh, by the way, last night at the Democratic, no, not last night, 2 nights ago, at the Democratic debate, did you guys know that there was not one American flag to be found at the Democratic debate anywhere? Not even like a form of a flag, anything. You know, shame on NBC News, shame on these Democrats. I mean, what are they running for? You know, like king of the complaining, you know, social justice warriors. I don't get it. No, they're running to be the nominee for the president of the United States of America, the most powerful nation to ever be on earth. And not one flag. While we're in the middle of like so many different potential conflicts. But, you know, and then, you know, they'll try to make that bad on Trump, but in reality it's because he's doing so good. He's doing so well, and they see how fast our military is growing, and like the technology that's going into it, and Raytheon's working. They were hiring all these people. They're going overtime. We were coming up with all the best stuff, Space Force, all this stuff. And that's only the stuff that we know about. Because trust me, there's so much more. Like, it's like an iceberg. It's like we know about all this stuff, and we see this iceberg, and it's amazing. But then underneath, it's a mountain. And it's all unknown. I'm telling you. I can't say any particulars, but, you know, don't just think that, you know, I mean, do you think that, you know, military intelligence and even just like military intelligence in general, like, they would not be good at their jobs if you guys knew anything about what they actually are doing or the type of resources they really have. Okay, so this is the next. This is about steel. I'm trying to check on my daughter. You guys read that? I'll be right back. What are you doing? No, that's for the princess. No, not yet. We're setting that up later. Not right now, okay? I know, I'm almost done with this, okay? No. So we are going to do it soon, okay? Alright, do you have milk? Did you get the milk? Did you get the milk? Where's your cup? Where's your cup? give me a few minutes. I'll be done real quick. Shouldn't be too long. Okay? Alright, babe? I love you. But today we can't go to the pool today. The weather. Yeah, no pool. Bad weather. Look outside. It's bad. Alright, guys. So here's President Trump. The president has a really good story to tell. We have unemployment lower than we've seen in decades. We have people who stopped looking for work coming back into the labor force. Honestly, I think that's the biggest factor that's overlooked. Because as far as like unemployment, I hate hearing unemployment numbers. Unemployment, all that means is like you just lost a job and you're basically looking for another one. You know what I mean? Like, that's all that unemployment is when they say unemployment numbers. And yes, it does reflect like how easy or hard it is to get a job, so there is value in the number. It's just very misleading when you say unemployment numbers are, 3%. And then in someone's head, it's like, wow, so, I'm not working right now, and so I'm one of the 3%. I'm 3 out of 100. What a loser I am, and all this stuff, and a lot of people will feel like that, and since I just don't think it's right. I think that they should make it more clear that 3% unemployment just means that that number is people who are working, and they have to file. If you lose your job and you've been working there long enough and you didn't get fired for doing anything, extremely negligible, then you'll get unemployment. You get laid off or fired, and it's not for something that's too bad. Like, even if it is for something that's not exactly good, like, you have a bad track record of always being late, or, then they're still going to give you unemployment. They're not going to withhold the unemployment for that reason. But understandably, and I don't blame them, why the company won't keep you if you're not showing up on time. It's kind of funny. What I'm always hearing from my buddies, and even my own brother, because they've all moved up and they're all in management or ownership positions and things all over Massachusetts. Whereas we all came from very, very poor, humble beginnings, like extremely poor beginnings. But, my group of friends, we had, a lot of us had potential. And, me, I took all the wrong paths, and it's only recently that I've been going to school, although I did the worst thing but I had no choice, had to take a semester off. When I became like officially a single father, like there's no choice, there's no way. And now there's even more of a reason, and I'm not even getting into that, but the actual number of people who are not working, who haven't been in the labor force for years, because what happens is, I know a lot of people, and I'll talk to them, I'll ask them, I'll say, have you thought about going back to work? And they'll be like, well, the thing is, I'm disabled and all this stuff, and I'm talking like a 34-year-old who's like, has like muscles sticking out of his shirt. I'm like, you're disabled? I was like, not physically, I guess. And he's like, no, mentally, I have depression, and I have anxiety, and panic disorder. And, okay, some of that might be true. But that does not mean that he's not unemployed, that he's like unemployable. Now, like bipolar is a very serious issue. They don't do it for bipolar, but they used to do it for bipolar, because my older brother hasn't worked a day unless it was under the table. He's worked a lot under the table because he's actually an amazing worker. He's probably one of the best people I've ever seen, with knowledge of how to strap, move, transport, secure, hoist a piano. I've never seen someone as smart as him with stuff like that. You know, the type of knots he ties. Although when I came back from the Navy, I had a few knots to show him as well. But anyways, you know, like these guys, they're in great shape and they're on unemployment, and they're like, well, it's because, you know, I have disability. And you can't, like, the thing is, I don't like it when people try to, like, look at me and sum me up, and then they're like, oh, you know, you're fine, like, you're intelligent, you know, like, you're fine. But it's like they don't understand the rest of it. They don't understand the trauma I've been through. You know, it's not just military either. It's so much. And that's why, by the way, guys, I finally made up my mind. So, as far as the testimony video that I've been telling you about, and I keep on saying I'm going to do, I keep on saying, alright, 2 more weeks. Well, I'm just going to do it. I think it's best just to get it all out there. With everything going on, you know, there's also like a biblical aspect to this. You know, it's my testimony, and I want to get it out. God forbid something happens, right? So I want to get that out. So that is going to be probably, if not Monday night, then it'll be that following Sunday. Okay? The following Sunday night. But I might just do it Monday night. Okay, guys? So just to let you know. Right now I'm planning to do it Monday night, but if not, I'll just do it the next week. And on like a Sunday. And I'll let you guys know when the time comes. But anyway, so, yeah, so, you know, like, they won't work, but then I asked them, I'm like, well, you know, you'll be better off. And they're like, no. They're like, what I'm getting from the government right now is more than I would make at minimum wage. Just friggin' like $10.50 an hour. I wouldn't even make close to what I'm getting from the government right now. And you know what? That is abusing the taxpayer money. But guess what? The way I don't really like blame the person, okay? Because people are going to do that when it comes time to taking care of your family, and you know you don't have much money and all that stuff. You're gonna do whatever you can, and if it's totally legal, and you do have a disability, and you know it's just you want to go back to work, but you'd be taking a huge pay cut. It's taking advantage of the system, because obviously this guy's capable of going back to work. Maybe he's not. I don't know. Maybe it's worse than I think. But he seemed like he could be working. He even said that he was considering going back to work, because what you get from the government isn't like a ridiculous amount. You know, it's still not enough to like get by on. I know that. But at the same time, it's more than you would make working minimum wage at some entry-level position. Full time. So that's unbelievable. And you gotta add it all up. It's not just exactly the cash he's getting. It's the housing. It's the food stamps. All of those things start to go away once you introduce the income. And it's pretty simple. I could like write up a plan for Massachusetts, and even with numbers, and say, hey, this is how you do it, like, you know, so that people, you know, will actually get back to work. It'll be so good for the economy. There's a whole generation right now not working, because you know why? They came to adulthood and kind of have been adults under Obama, where everything's free. You don't even have to buy a phone. You get a phone, you get health insurance, you get the housing, okay? God forbid, if you have a kid, if you have 2 kids, you get a bunch more. You get all of these things to the 3rd power. You know what I mean? That's how it goes. You get food, all right? You get house. You get all of it. So why would they go to work and lose all that? You can't blame the people. You have to blame the system. But my worry is that people are going to go and say, hey, and then they're going to be anti-welfare. Now, you can be maybe they need to raise the minimum wage. Maybe that's part of it. It needs to be a 2-pronged approach. They need to go after the minimum wage, raise it, all right, without the cost of everything going up, which I have a feeling is about to happen. With everything that's happened with the farmlands on top of the tariffs, I think we're finally going to feel those tariffs after all this weather. And if you guys watch people like Mike Morales, and you guys watch people that do the weather and all that, they'll show you there's all kinds of anomalies with the weather. And everyone says DARPA, DARPA. But I don't think so. I think DARPA definitely does stuff like that. But there's no interest in them. And I know someone's going to say, Agenda 2030. No. I think that is China, their form of DARPA, making sure that, they're going to tariff some of our goods from our farmers, but Trump is bailing out the farmers, so it's not hurting us too. And then China is realizing that it's not hurting us too much. Now, whether they made progress last night or not, which they did, I bet you at that point that they had one of their own little DARPA programs, and what we were picking up on these satellites of these beams that we were shooting that were right before the storm actually might have weakened the storm that China sent over here to flood all our farms. Think about it. Really think about it. Alright, they flood the farms, all of a sudden we're screwed. We can't sell to anyone. Forget about tariffs on them. They would be ecstatic about that. That would bring us to the negotiating table, and maybe that's what did bring us to the negotiating table. Who knows? But all I know is that they've been talking at the summit, and some progress was made, because all of a sudden now but it seems to only benefit China. I don't see anything yet that benefits us, which makes you think that maybe everyone got it wrong. Everyone thought DARPA did this. They sent these clouds over here, flooded the whole interior of the United States. To what ends? You know what I mean? Agenda 2030. I get it. Something like that could happen, but it would be too early for one, and unless they have some other kind of plan where they'll make the farmers dependent the same way a welfare recipient is dependent, because that's basically what the farmers are right now. They're dependent on a government check on the 1st and 15th, and that's it. They're not even farming anymore because it's just such a mess. It's impossible to even plant it, let alone grow it. So I think China sent that storm over here, along with a couple other storms. I think it was a trio of storms, and all of a sudden now it's the summit, and we're back at the negotiating table, which sounds good for both countries. But the only thing that's came out so far is that we are now going to allow the Huawei parts to be sold to them from us and bought and all things like that. Now there's still definitely restrictions on it, but they loosened it where as far as the pots and things like that. And this is a huge company. So it looks like for some reason, we felt the need to appease them, even though we are literally like smashing their economy. Well, maybe a few months down the road, we're going to stop feeling the pain, because not only of all the tariffs on all these goods from our farmers, but now the fact that they can't even farm anything. It's like more than 50% of all our crops, what we normally produce, will not be produced. Think about this stuff, you guys. I don't just say this for no reason. This isn't just like guessing either. I get intelligence all the time, and I keep up with it, and it's kind of easy to figure out when you really think of it. So the president has a really good story to tell. He wrote that himself in the third person. Okay. We have unemployment lower than we've seen in decades, which set me off on that tirade, which I'm happy I went off on that tirade, because that was just important information at the end that I just told you about China and about our farms and what to expect. So basically the bottom line with all that, just to get it done with, go and buy as much of like canned veggies, all that stuff. Buy as much as you can. Alright? Like seriously, you don't even need much money. Take like $30 and just buy nothing but canned foods. Especially like the type that, might be affected by the farming. Okay? Buy all that type of stuff. You should be doing that type of stuff anyways, to be honest with you, because you want to be prepared no matter what. With everything going on, people look at anyone who prepares as some crazy person, when in reality, they are practical. It's practical. We insure our cars, right? In case we get in an accident. We insure our friggin' apartments. What, in case, there's a flood or like something that'll never happens. We insure everything. We insure our lives. We insure everything. Why not insure our future, so that all of a sudden, like, the whole digital system doesn't go down, and you have a couple of kids and a wife or a husband, and you guys have nothing. You have no way to get water. All the water isn't running anymore. You can't drink any water. You don't have a gun. You don't have any protection. All right? Imagine that type of situation. What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? Alright? The roads are packed. There's cars everywhere. Let me tell you what would happen. If you live in the city, you would be screwed. With no food, no supplies, no protection, transportation wouldn't even matter. The roads would be so jammed up. I'm telling you, you'd be so screwed. And I'm even kind of upset with myself. I'm prepared to a point. I can last 2 months. I think. I don't know. You don't know until you're out in the elements. And also, it depends summer versus winter. If it's the best time for it to happen would be like, April. Then you get spring, summer. And that Department of Homeland Security put out an alert saying that you need to have 6 months of supplies to sustain you for 6 months. But they put it out on their website. The news doesn't report it. Nobody tells you about it. I only heard it because of Adam Afugel. But otherwise, I wouldn't even heard of it. I might have heard of it from some other truther or something, but they put it on their website as a big deal, but they don't tell anybody. And they said that everybody in America needs to make sure that they have enough supplies and food and a way to have clean water. That's the most important thing, because you won't even last a couple days without the water. Now, yesterday I was kind of going back and forth to somebody. They were saying that you need a bunch of bottled water I said that's not a good idea because, you know, if you have to bug out, how are you going to carry all those cases of water? And those cases of water only last you a few days. And on top of it, if you store those for too long, the plastic seeps into the water and will poison it. You know, which is why I said you need some type of water filter. And, you know, she thought that the best way was the bottled water. I think it's with a filter. And you gotta learn how to use it. You gotta learn also some natural techniques. Don't depend on that let's say water purifier just in case something happens. You know, you gotta think, if you don't have protection, whatever you have is basically just you're holding on to it for the next guy with the biggest gun coming that sees you next. That's how it's gonna be in a situation like that. There'll be sparks of humanity and good people, but then there's gonna be a lot of bad people as well, and they're gonna be short on supplies. Their kids are gonna be dying, and trust me, they won't hesitate to put that gun right in your face. And they could be a cop, anything. They'll still do it. If their kids are starving, they'll do it. Or their kids need antibiotics or they'll die, and you have antibiotics, they'll do it. That's why I always say, you know, like, if you can get antibiotics, get them. I went to the doctor, I legit had an infection, but I only took the antibiotics for a couple days because it was very small, like nothing. And so now I have 8 days of antibiotics, penicillin. Alright, so enough with that spiel. Back to this, back to what I was getting at. Go on, zoom. And I'm not trying to scare anybody. I put out a video yesterday, I watched it, I kind of felt bad. I'm like, I hope I didn't scare people. But you know what, then I thought about it, I'm like, well, people know me. I don't do the fear porn. I've never been about that. In fact, I've gotten in trouble for being a little bit critical of people at times about that kind of stuff. But if it's legit, then it's not fear porn. It's trying to help you. It's giving you a heads up that changes are coming. You know, if not one thing, then it's the other. There's so many different things going on right now that, you know, something's gonna give. And once that one thing gives, this is just, by the way, everything I've said so far has been kind of based on some facts. This is an opinion. Okay? You see how I do that? I'll let you know when it's an opinion. So everything I said has been pretty much a fact, except for like when I painted potential scenarios. But I think you guys understood those were potential scenarios. Okay, well this is an opinion. Once the first domino falls, whether it be natural, whether it be, you know, something with Q, whether it be something with a war, whether it be a multitude of things. When the first domino falls, the rest are gonna go right down, right in the line. And that is when, in my opinion, we are gonna enter the end of days. I really believe that. From the bottom of my heart, I believe that. I don't know how many people in the room. I haven't checked the chat in a while either. But let me see real quick. But yeah, I really honestly believe that, because when you read the Bible and you read about the signs to look out for, they're all here. They're all happening. There's a couple like little checks I have to make. I always describe it as a list of check boxes of prophesy, and I check. This happened. And there's a couple more left that haven't happened yet. But the thing is, they're the type of things that could happen like all in like 1 or 2 days, and boom, you're there, you're in it before you even knew it. And the person you least expected is the Antichrist. Yet there's going to be some type of deception, which I want to do a video just on that, and also have call-ins. Like, what is that deception going to be? In fact, I'd love to do that for tonight's call-in. What is the deception going to be? I mean, according to the Lord, like, nobody is going to like know. That doesn't mean that nobody knows. It just means like it's not something that's like in the Bible that, you know, he is disclosing to us as the human race, I would say. But that doesn't mean that certain prophets, certain people who, you know, they just have a connection with the spiritual side. Although you got to be careful. A lot of those people, they just work in the dark arts. That's the truth of it. My mother went and saw one after my father died. Well, my stepmother, my real mother died when I was younger, but you know, my stepmother, who's all I have left. I mean, my real parents are dead, but she like basically like raised me in very important years in my life and was always there for me, and we're extremely close. And but she's also like did some messed up things to me as well, but I'm not going to get into that. So, you know, like with her, I kind of lost my train of thought. I was talking about the end days and how I lost my train of thought because I just thought about how she screwed me, and I was like, oh shit. I'm trying not to angle it down. Okay, so let me see what's going on with chat. Alright, where are you guys? I think you guys are right here. This is for you guys. I know what the overall what I was saying, but well, anyway. So my whole point is, it doesn't mean that there won't be certain like prophets. Okay. There's only 4 people. What the hell? What's going on? Is there something wrong? Is my audio? Is there a problem with the audio? Because I did have the JFK. Oh, homegrown hippie chick. How you guys doing? Welcome. I hope you guys subscribe. I would appreciate it. I know homegrown, you're already subscribed, and that's another thing. You know, anybody who's interesting. Anybody who's not subscribed, I highly suggest just subscribing. You know, you don't have to watch every single video, but when I put breaking in brackets, those are the videos you have to watch. That means I have some inside intel, and I'm gonna drop it, and it's always interesting, and it's always ends up coming out later, and could have been a benefit for you prior. Especially like if you were in the stock market, I get those kind of drops all the time, intel and that type of stuff all the time. I knew to buy Bitcoin, not from the first surge. That was a whole different situation, but this latest surge that it's making, I bought it very low, and someone was like, just buy it, I don't care what it does, just let it sit. And this is a reliable person. Just let it sit. He said once it hits 10K, you're really gonna see it. I'm like, 10K? It's at like 7 right now. Like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, 10K, and it's gonna be sooner than you think. He was totally right. He knew exactly what he was talking about. You know? And he's like, stick with it, no matter what. Just keep sticking with it. Keep your money in there. Don't take any money out. He's like, it's gonna keep shooting up. And so I'm also like a little bit in search of that altcoin. You know, that might be it. Some people say Libra because it's actually backed by gold, and Facebook is behind it. But there was actually some other ones, something that some people, it was only worth like 17 cents or 1.7 pennies, one or the other, and all of a sudden it went up like, I said the other day 1,000%. It was more like 50,000% it went up, like a ridiculous amount, because it was only at like 1.7 penny, like of a cent, or 17 cents, something like that. So the percent that it went up, it was like unbelievable. This thing just like shot through the roof. But a lot of the coins do that at some point, and that's how they gain their value. Then they slow down, come back down to earth, all that. Anyways, I encourage you to watch all my videos. The call-ins are very informative. You know, you never know what you're gonna get. All I know is that for some reason I have like this extremely intelligent audience that watches my show. I'm very surprised at the demographics, all of it. But they're very intelligent, they're educated, they're a little bit older, they're wiser. It's a great audience. I hope anyone here subscribes. And like I said, if you see breaking inside of the, you know, you see before I put the title, if you see breaking in brackets, watch that before anything. I don't care what you're doing. Watch that video right away as soon as you can. Just telling you that is truth. That's how I'm doing it. That I've kind of come up with a system here. And so all of my videos are important. They all have intel. They all are interesting. So a lot of them have call-ins. A lot of them are just things that'll blow your mind. All kinds of different stuff. We talk about anything. But if there's brackets around the breaking, you need to watch it right that second. Just to put that out there. Okay? So please subscribe. Everybody, if you could hit the like button on your way out or on your way in, it only takes a second. Before, I used to never say it. In fact, I think this is my first time officially like saying it. I just hate saying it, but it is true. When the like button is hit, you get more people coming in. So that's a plus. Okay, so let's get to it, huh? Alright, so we'll get back to where we were. I just wanted to check chat. Philly, Olivia, leave her alone. Stop. Philly, no. Sorry. Olivia, hey, stop. Come here. Get away from Philly. She doesn't want to be bothered like that. And you're being mean to the dog. Okay, I keep doing that. Get my breathing suit on. Okay. But I can't see past the laptop to the screen. Alright, so we are okay, good. And I have a media source playing right now. I'm gonna shut that off. Is that better? Is that better without that media, whatever that sound, whatever was just playing that I just shut off? Was something just playing? What was just playing that I shut off? Oh, okay. But I saw it said media number 5 was playing. It was playing as I was speaking. So I was just wondering, like, what was that? What, did you guys hear any? Hello, question. What kind of water filter do you recommend? Well, it depends on how much you want to spend. We can all look them up together. I've heard of the Burpee as one. I heard that the one with the straw, do not get that one. That's not ideal for a survival type of situation. But I will answer your question, since it seems like a lot of people are out on their Saturday, and I don't blame them, and I would be too, but we're getting really bad weather up here, and it's not enough to leave me alone with a baby, but then you have to steal my car and smash it when you're not on the insurance, and now my car that's worth like $35,000, which I paid about 15 to 16,000 of, so I still owe like 20,000 on it, is gone. That car's gone, and not only that, but the insurance company, which by the way, USAA, oh, they're so great with veterans and all that bull. Anytime you see anyone claiming that they do all this charity, the biggest thieves are the non-profits and the charities, and anyone pretending that they're helping people. They never are. They never are. Any of those people who go over to Africa pretending they're helping, they're not. Anything like the Clinton Foundation acting like they're helping with the AIDS in Africa and the earthquake in Haiti, they're not. They're getting rich off it. Same thing as USAA. They act like they're helping veterans with car insurance. They're not. They're taking advantage and screwing them. But they screwed the wrong guy this time. Because I am not putting up with it. I already left a message with the Attorney General of Massachusetts. I left a message with the the Board of Insurance or whatever. Like, they overlook this type of crap. Because insurance companies always try to avoid paying things. But this is a huge situation where the car is gone. It's sitting in a tow. By now, if I was trying to take it out of tow today, it would be around $1,300 just to get it out of tow. And it's totaled. It's like, you can't put a totaled car on, like, you know what I mean? It's just, it's all demolished. And so, that's like the biggest problem going on in my life right now, by far. It still doesn't even feel real. Like, when like something so bad happens, it's like your worst nightmare invented. And, and they're like, well, how'd she get the keys? I'm like, actually, there was a court order against her, although, she I'm not going to say it, but, she would see her daughter, right? But she legitimately, and this is the truth, she actually did take the keys without my permission. And I ended up calling. It's like right when I figured out the keys were missing. It took me a little bit. I was calling where she lives. It's like a woman's shelter where she was living until her court date is over for beating the hell out of me. It's another thing. I won't hit a woman back. So she's like, she feels very comfortable just beating the shit out of me, knowing that I won't hit back. I mean, I feel like if you continuously are beating up a guy, and the thing is, I know how to dodge and I can handle a punch, so it's like that's one thing. But it's like having your hands tied behind your back and they just keep hitting you and they just hitting you, and they come in, they start talking about your dead father and they hit you again, and it's like, can I just legally, can I just one good friggin' pow, just let her know what it feels like, what I could actually do to her face. That's halfway kidding, halfway serious, but it's annoying having somebody just hit you and hit you and hit you. But I have a rule in life, and I've always followed it, never broken it. Never ever, I was raised right, never ever ever touch a woman no matter what. So I never have. But when you're with the wrong woman, and you have the baby with the wrong woman, you're kind of stuck around them, and when they're literally insane, watch out. Alright, so let's get into this. Sorry for all that sidetracking, but whatever. I don't think it was bad. I think it was still good entertaining material. Let me see. So I zoom a bit. This should be able to pop up. I don't understand. There we go. Alright. So, February 7th, 2018. This is from Seth Abramson. Please retweet. The nation is on alert for Trump firing acting Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, a prelude to blocking progress in the Mueller investigation and eventually firing Mueller. Those who believe in the rule of law must be clear in saying firing Rosenstein is a red line Trump cannot cross. Little did they know that was a head fake. Trump pulled a head fake. He didn't say, "Oh, I'm thinking I'm gonna fire him." He, let them think it. More, maybe he had like an intern leak it. Who knows? Or maybe he told somebody that he knows is leaking intelligence. He told them, "Hey, listen, man, I'm gonna have to fire Rod. He's doing a bad job." Because he actually was doing a bad job. He's been getting a lot of the criticism lately. A lot of people have been coming down on Rod Rosenstein when it comes to this whole Mueller thing. They're coming down on Mueller, but they're also coming down on Rod Rosenstein. Even though Rosenstein was one of their guys in his circle. Obviously, he didn't let him really in the circle, but he was in their circle. And so, so that was a funny one. That was in February 7th. And is that when? I know there was a head fake, and then he really did fire Rosenstein. So I can't remember. I don't know if someone wants to look this up or not, but I want to know what this says. Okay. Let me see. I just want to read that one. I'm trying to read this tweet. They made it so small. It's 2977. Well, that's pretty close. Let's see what happens here. Still can't see it. $299,177. I'm responding to 299,177, but I'll be able to find it through that anyway. Oh, there's my Okay, so you know what I'm going to do, guys? I'm going to make a part 2. I'm going to make a part 2 for the same exact thing. Because there's some things that, usually I'm very prepared with this type of stuff. But I didn't know that there was so much missing here. And that it's impossible to zoom. And it's not just that. It's my daughter. I'm starting to feel bad. She's It's just a lot. This video, I kind of went off talking a lot, and there was a lot of good information for the audience, so, I think it's still a good thing for you guys. But I'm just going to make a part 2. It's going to be the same exact title, but part 2. And we'll just continue where we left off, as far as, well, first of all, is JFK alive? No. But that is what a lot of people think. They think JFK is going to come back and all this stuff. Now, maybe not JFK, but I can maybe see like Julian Assange, maybe, showing that he's okay, and him kind of being one of the people that, is on stage with Trump, or however it's happened. Something's supposed to happen on the 4th. There's also been talk about something bad happening on the 4th. I mean, I guess it all depends on perspective, right? So, we'll see. So, I hope you guys caught a couple of red pills. And next time you need your Pez, you know where to go. It's the Red Pill News Dispensary. Like I said, in just a few hours, I will be uploading and actually going live and doing the this exact topic, part 2. Because it's a loaded topic, let's be honest. If I'm going to cover it correctly, and at the same time, speak freely, which is when normally I give the best information. I just recall all these things, and nothing classified, just like how the video went today. So yes, there will be a part 2. Please forgive me. It's just I'm a father first, and it's been longer than I expected. I thought this would be like a quick half-hour video. It's been a lot longer, and I'll make a part 2, and that'll be today. It's just, I need to attend to her. Alright, guys. You guys have a great afternoon. I will see you right now. It is 5 o'clock Eastern Time, so it's 2 o'clock Pacific. So, I should be back on around, 8, and I'll do a part 2. And I might even, by then, have, like, some other subject that I'll throw in there with it. Alright, guys, so, take care. On your way out, if you could hit the like button, that helps people get to my channel and to the particular video that you are liking. Also, if you're not subscribed yet, trust me, I'm not just saying, subscribe, but if you like anything that you hear here, subscribe, because when things start happening, this is where you're going to find the most truth. Alright? I mean, you might get a news alert on your TV from the government. Some of it might be true, most of it might not. Okay, and for those who don't know, I was a former military intelligence. I have an idea. However, I will never disclose classified intel. Yet, I do have those goggles when I look at stories, and it helps me kind of digest it, think, and really what ends up coming out and what ends up making a lot more sense than the U.S. official story in the end. And that's happened on countless occasions, and I've only been on YouTube for a couple months. So yes, like I said, like, subscribe, all that, but most of all, check out the videos. And if you see brackets around breaking, definitely check that video out as soon as you can. I mean, unless like you're walking down the stairs with a baby, check that video out right away. I've only done, I don't do many of them. I just kind of did one yesterday. It was one of those situations where I could have maybe left away the breaking thing, but I just kind of came up with that idea. That'll be my way of kind of communicating to you guys, hey, this is serious. And it was serious enough that last night YouTube kept shutting me down. Some of the people in chat might be able to tell you, but I'm talking to anybody who's new right now or watching this after the fact. If you look in chat from last night, which was the 28th, you look at my video from the 28th, you'll see that I ended up having to delete 3 of them, but I made a part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, because only the part 1 worked, and the audio was off the first half of it, which was my fault, but then everything that happened after that, I got out my message, which was which I will get out again later on today. That's part of my plan. And last thing, guys, last thing. I want you guys in the comments section, if you can tell me, would you guys rather talk about, there's two subjects that I've been thinking about. Alright, it's kind of like the difference of this generation from the other generations. Like if you're a mother and you're wondering about your, late 20s or mid 30s son and thinking, what is wrong with him? He's such a homebody. Is there something wrong with my son? If you want to talk about that type of subject, just write basement babies. Just write that in the comments. This is for tonight, okay? And it won't be too late, but it'll be tonight. I'm thinking 10:30. Is that reasonable? Okay. I was gonna say 11, but I understand. So 10:30, okay? Or the other subject, we talked about it earlier. It's there's so many things on my mind at once. I need to have notes in front of me right now. I mentioned it in the video. So you know what? You guys have access to go back, and you guys already heard me say it if you're watching the video at this point. So what I mentioned in the video earlier, that subject, which is very interesting, even though I can't remember what it was, I know that I was like, wow, that'll be a very interesting topic. Oh yeah. What this is what the second option would be. This is more biblical. What is, in your opinion, the deception going to be? I've heard everything from an alien deception to the fact that, I don't even want to say it, but take this with a grain of salt, but that Jesus and God are actually the Antichrist and Satan, and Antichrist and Satan are actually Jesus and God. All this crazy crap. Some of the other stuff isn't as crazy, but it's like, it's out there. But then again, it's supposed to be something that deceives literally everybody. And at a time when information is going to and fro and knowledge is growing, like it is now, I mean, anything I want, I could just find out right now. I type it in, boom. There's no argument. Before, people used to argue about things for weeks and months, and it would affect their relationship, and they'd argue and argue. I remember those days. Now, you settle the argument in 2 seconds. There's no I think that has a lot to do with depression, all that stuff. But anyways, I need to shut up. So it's either the first, for the call-in show, I want to have some type of topic. That doesn't mean that you can't call in and talk about something else, but I would like to have a topic as well, okay? A topic, and try to stick to the topic the best we can. If you want to call and talk about something else, then you can talk about something else, but before you go on your spiel about your thing, just make a quick mention of one or the other, and just say let's say biblically say, I think it's going to be an alien invasion. They're going to do a fake alien invasion. And then you can just go and give all your intel on the other thing. You know what I mean? So that doesn't mean you can't call in with other intel. You can call in with all the intel you want. It's just, I want one of those two things to be addressed. So in the comments, it's basically like a vote. I can even set it up as a vote, but it's much easier. You guys can just write in the comments if you want to talk about the biblical the end days deception. So that's what you would write if you want to talk about that, end days deception, or basement babies, which is basically just this whole generation that we never left mom. They all still live in the house. A lot of them even have great careers, and they're 40 now. They're pushing 40, yet they're at their mother's house with a girlfriend in the basement. It's just more and more common, and I want to talk about that because I think there's some important messages to get out to both the son or daughter in that situation, as well as the mother. And by the way, I was looking at some studies because I'm fascinated by this whole thing, how this whole generation, how this has happened. That it's usually male, overwhelmingly male. It's like 65-35. I think the exact numbers were like 62-38 or something like that. But anyways, also females as well. Females do it as well. I mean, 38%. So it's an interesting subject, and obviously, so is biblically. What will that deception be that's going to fool basically everybody, almost everybody, according to the Bible? Not everybody, but almost everybody, according to the Bible. So, alright guys, I hope you guys enjoy the show. I hope you got your Pez. Thank you for stopping by. Like, share, subscribe. This is the Red Pill Dispensary. I'll be back around 8 to do the part 2 of this, and then at 10:30 I'll be doing the live call-in show. All right, we'll have a call-in show tonight.